Hi, and welcome to the School Health Educators Podcast, where we discuss health education and how to best teach health ed in the K 12 setting. Hi, and welcome to the School Health Educators Podcast. I'm your host, Lori Reichel. Today, I'm so excited to chat with somebody about health education. If you know me, you know I'm passionate. And there's nothing like connecting with another person that is also as passionate. And that person is Sandee Ortiz. Sandee, thank you so much for being here and hello. Hello.
Hi, I'm glad to be here, Lori, and I really was looking forward to meeting you and going through this podcast with you and talking about my journey. It's been 29 years of teaching, and so I am very passionate person and I love teaching health and PE, but health is where my career started to really take off, and I think we're here today to talk about some of those things.
Well, I'm so excited to hear about your health journey. Do you want to start there? Like, tell us, where did this all begin for you?
I will say that my health journey started in 1998 in a school district which was combined two cities called Delavan, Darien. And I was a first year teacher and I signed up to teach half health and half PE. And when I walked in my first day to teach health, pretty much the teacher that taught it last year was a science teacher. He goes, "I'm so glad you're here. Here's the curriculum." And he handed over one folder, and I was like, he goes, "Well, I just kind of whipped up lessons each day." And I'm like, "Well, where's everything? This is it?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "So you're just going to probably have to meet with your department chair and go over what you need to teach." And so I was already terrified my first year, and there's like nothing here but like simple lessons. And so I guess when I look back at it, it was scary. But when I look at myself now, it was a very important process and experience for me to go through because it allowed me to really engage into the Wisconsin state health standards. And that opened up the door to really start the important planning for my students. And so starting at Delvin Darien with my health career, my mentor always said, she goes, "You are doing a great job teaching health." She goes, "All the kids are talking about, health class now and how they're, doing these nutrition activities to stress management." So my mentor, even at that time, who was a teacher of 29 years, she goes, "You're doing this is your niche. Like this is," and I didn't realize what they meant. And so as I was getting busy with all the work and I look back at it today, I'm like, wow, that was really an amazing experience that I walked into something that I was allowed to be creative with and to take ownership of and to really build something. And so all those skills carried over throughout my career. And so I was at Delavan for 21 years. And during that time, my mentor, who was a go-getter, again, if you ever read the book Tuesdays with Maury, Dumbledore was my Maury and just really guided me in my first couple of years of teaching. And so we also, during our department journey, we ended up writing a PEP grant by 2010. Yes. And I know it took us 5 years to get, but we hired a grant writer. And then suddenly we landed a $1.2 million PEP grant, which really transformed our health curriculum, transformed our PE curriculum. And then the next step for me was to get my national boards. And to me, that's when things really turned around. I found my voice. I got my national boards in physical education, but it really allowed me to enhance my teaching skills in general, with from coaching to teaching health to teaching physical education. So once I got my national boards, I got to write boards or write standards for national boards. And all these things started happening and all these doors started opening up. And then after 21 years, I left Delavan and I ended up at Sun Prairie High School. And it's two high schools now, but I ended up working with Shannon Molly, who was a national teacher of the year in physical education. And I thought I was a hard worker. She was the master teacher that I needed to join to partner with a little bit. And she was the one that rolled out skill-based health, saying, all right, there isn't really a health curriculum here either. We have this and just what the teacher had last year, but it needs to be updated. There's a good start, but here's skill-based health. What you want to, so we joined at the hip and we started to get to work. And I'm like, what is this? Because I was so used to unit-based health, right? With drugs and alcohol unit, stress unit, and this was really something different and foreign. And so right when I started going through it and I taught it the first semester, I'm like, this makes sense. Like, where has this been? And so where I ended up and the people that I've been surrounded by have really allowed me to grow, I think, as a professional. And so here I am today. Uh, Again, once I got into Sun Prairie in 2019, in 2022, I was announced as Wisconsin Health Teacher of the Year. And then I'm like, oh, wow. And then I became the Shape Midwest president and got to work with some passionate, like-minded people. And it just kept going, right? And then after I served my term, I applied for the National Health Teacher of the Year. By my third year, I couldn't apply the first or second because I was a SHAPE president
Hmm.
for the Midwest, so there was a conflict of interest. But I applied by my third year, and last year in Cleveland, right? No, not was it Cleveland? No, it was in
Kansas City?
Not Kansas
No,
City.
not that's this year. And I'll edit this out.
It was in, why don't I remember this? Baltimore, Baltimore. Yes. So I was announced as the national health teacher in Baltimore, and it was just really, I can't even explain to you what that feeling was like, but it really makes me go back and look at my whole timeline of teaching and all the people that supported me and the students that have allowed me to grow as a teacher and pushed me to be better. And all the faces I could just see, it was just a flood of emotions. And here I am today now. I'm the state president right now for Wisconsin Health and Physical Education, which is WIPY as our nickname. But now I'm a president for that, and I've continued to grow and help, hopefully, inspire other people to go in the profession and to stick it with it, and also just again presenting with different people over the years. It's been just a big, quick, fast like bout of like good news, right? And just some fortunate good experiences along the way. But all these things have shaped me as a professional. And like I said, it started off in Delavan Darien and now I'm in Sun Prairie, and I've served twice as president now from Shape and Wisconsin. And I continue, now I work with three newer teachers and just continuing to share curriculum and standards and to help them along their journeys. Because I know how important it is to mentor people, right? And because I'll probably retire in about 5 or 6 years. And it is my hopes that these future teachers are going to carry the torch and keep moving our profession forward. So,
Congratulations on being Shape America's Health Education Teacher of the Year in 2025. That is wonderful. And it's not easy to get to, for sure. You have to show evidence of all the work that you've done. And it's funny, some people look at that and they think it's associated with the ego. To me, it's associated with the passion that you're not
passion.
doing things to be recognized, yet it's nice to be recognized along the way. It's that all that hard work that people are doing that is really helping our field remain updated or get even more updated. Would you agree?
Yeah, I do agree. And, staying current in our field. But I think when I look at all this, I always go back and I think of my students,
Yeah.
right? And it
Hmm.
wasn't so much about the award. And I know when I went through the interview, it was really a hard interview because I found myself like maybe I didn't want to toot my horn so much. But I go back and I have always been a hard worker. And even my coworkers today are like, well, you work on the weekends and you do this. I go, I have a better balance, I promise you. But I do it so that I could be ready for my students. And that's
Hmm.
who's in front of me. And I don't want to let them down. And again, I want to also be the best teacher that I could possibly be because it's important, especially these days, our students need us.
They do.
and they
Hmm.
need our voices and they need a curriculum that's going to be meaningful for them,
Yeah.
right? So yeah.
And you've said a few times throughout how you were explaining your journey, your health education journey, you referred to skill-based health. Why is that so important to you?
Skill-based health is very important because it provides students with the skills that they're going to need to navigate the 21st century. And as I always say, I say this to my students and to my family members, like the most important thing that will that you will ever possess is good health. If you don't have good health, it's hard to achieve anything in life when you're not happy and you're not healthy. And so having our students recognize the importance of that they have full control of their health, right? And that they could do things about it. And there's a lot of those skills. Like if you look at mental health nowadays, that seems to be one of the most popular, right, skills that kids need to have is how to self-manage, which is one of the skills in skill-based health. And our students need to be able to navigate all the stressors that are in front of them from their cell phones, right? From the choices that they make each and every day about their
Hmm.
health, their sleep. I always tell kids, what's really important is going to be your sleep, how much sleep you get, right? Your nutrition and your amount of exercise and balancing your stress. Like those things are so important. But giving our kids the skills and the tools to be able to manage their health is going to be so important. And it's a skill they could carry on for a lifetime. It's stuff that they're going to be using each and every single day.
Well, if there's somebody that's listening in and they're like, listen, it's been a long couple of years, however long it has been. I am burnt out. What do you recommend for health educators to do to get that passion back?
That's a really good question. For me, what works best for me is when I get to see my people that are very passionate about teaching health and PE. But, I have a couple of close friends that I will message back and forth or going to a state convention or national convention. To me, that's what really ignites my passion is when I am at the Shape America convention and I get to see all these people who are just like me,
Yeah.
right? That have to share the same collective passion to teach.
Mhm.
And I also feel like going to our state convention. I get to be a part of that. I get to organize it. And what's important to us is to bring in great speakers that will come in and speak about health and PE and best practices. And so we get our state convention to really get back to get, to re-energize and recharge. Um, I also believe in setting boundaries. Like I used to
Mhm.
be that workaholic that would work Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, just so that I would have everything perfect. And I learned that I need to kind of set that aside and set that boundary. And sadly, it took me getting ill to learn
Oh.
that lesson. And I was diagnosed with breast cancer.
Mm.
I can't remember, was it 2022 or 2023? And that sidelined me for a while. And I went through surgery. I cleared my margins and I actually beat it. And so I'm here today to share that. Yeah,
Yay!
when I accepted
Yay!
that, yeah, it's like, yay. I accepted the award. Last year to me, I look back at all that and it's just like there was a one point in my career where I felt like I worked this hard and I felt like I was getting nowhere, right? And I'm sick now on the couch and I have cancer, right? And all I could think of was like, I did this for 28 years, worked myself to death, right? And then suddenly I started getting messages from former students and former athletes and former colleagues and people I've taught with for a long time. And I had students come over and bring me meals. And to
Oh.
me, it was just, I realized one, that the impact that we make is far more than what we believe, right? And I also learned that I need to set boundaries up and that I could find other time to like get prepared and get ahead. But I started to set boundaries with my work. And so
Yeah.
I have every Saturday, I'm not allowed to work on Friday or Saturday. That is against I set that boundary up
Hmm.
unless we have a snow day on Friday. I am not working those days and I'm going to have Saturday off. I play tennis on those days. I take care of my physical health first. I try to meal prep more. So those are some things I think in order to stay healthy as just a teacher in general,
Yeah.
that you really need to set boundaries up and you need to also understand that your work is very important, but your health is also equally important, right? The health teacher got sick.
So what I'm hearing you say is uh, definitely go and connect with other passionate people in our field. And that
Mhm.
includes going to conferences. I know that some people have heard me say on episodes of this podcast, there's state conferences, there's a variety of national ones. I'll be attending the National Academy of Health and Physical Literacy for my first time this year, and I'm really excited
Oh,
about that
good.
because I'm meeting different people. I've gone to the New York State one, and I've been to Shape America, and so many great things. So I'm hearing that, so connect with other professionals, friends, going to conferences, setting boundaries to make sure that you're taking care of your health. And I'm so glad that you're doing well. I'm so sorry about the
Good.
diagnosis, and I'm glad that you saw that you have created a community with students
Hmm.
that came to you. That's phenomenal. And then, yeah, setting those boundaries, doing what you need to do for yourself. For myself, I know I'm not supposed to be on technology or think about work on Saturdays. Although sometimes, like if you're out, like for me, I love snowshoeing or hiking. I get so many ideas that I have to write them
Yeah, right.
down. So, did I miss anything that you said there?
I think you captured everything,
Yeah,
and I'm sure there's some other things that teachers could do, but I think getting outside and getting physical activity, like we
yeah.
practice what we preach, but I find myself like I'm a better human when I'm outside snowshoeing
Hmm.
and skiing, cross-country skiing. Those are things that I really enjoy doing and kayaking. So when I could get some activity in, I feel like I'm more effective
Yeah.
and more patient and calmer and happier.
Something about those endorphins being released.
Yeah. And I like what you said about like the sleep boundary without your phone, right? Like just
Hmm.
trying to be off your phone at a certain time. I've also started to do that more and put my phone away from my bed
Yeah,
and just say, when I even set a timer at 9 o'clock, I get that little notice like it's, bedtime, and so I like, oh, I better get up. That's my signal to my cue to plug in my phone and let it charge and just be away from it. So,
wonderful.
yeah.
So, do you have any advice for people that are still trying to figure out the skill-based teaching way in health education? Because I love that. That's what I train current teachers right now,
Mhm.
and I'm trying to create more tools for current and future educators to embrace that. How do we teach communication skills as a base of a unit? Any advice on that?
Oh, that's another really good question. I would say when you get started, well, one, get familiar with skill-based health, right? I would say that book was a helpful starter, is buying that skill-based health book by
Is that the
Sarah
one
Bennett.
from Bennis and Alperin?
Yes.
Okay, very good.
And it's
Hmm.
got all the lessons incorporated and that's how we started. So
Hmm.
we decided how we were going to go about organizing the units and which skills are first. And we're constantly tweaking it and moving things around. But I think now after year 5, we have things in a place where they belong.
Yeah.
One thing that we considered strongly is that, well, what people should consider is like, who are your students, right? Who's in front of
Yes.
you? And I don't know what other states do, but in the state of Wisconsin, our kids take the what is it called? They take a health assessment, right? It's called YARBIS, but the Youth Risk Behavior Assessment.
Okay.
And our kids take that their freshman, sophomore year. They take it all 4 years. And I think we rotate it every 2 years now. And so those kids are answering a series of questions that include sexual behaviors, drug and alcohol use, the amount of stress that they have. So it's a big series of questions. How much sleep they get, and the food that they're eating, and exercise. So that's like some of the categories.
Hmm.
And so the data usually comes out early June. And what we do as a health department is we go through all the results. And so that allows us to say, this is what our students need. Like
Right.
vaping is a concern right now. So that is in our curriculum. So our planning kind of like we also take that because those are the students in front of us in consideration when we're planning skill-based health.
Yeah.
And then we also use avid strategies, you know. So whatever the district you're in, like we're avid school, so we use avid strategies, which actually helps all students, not just first year generation students. And then we do some note catchers. We used to do electronic note catchers on the computers, but we all know that students are going to YouTube, they get easily distracted, and then
Hmm.
suddenly, again, we want to try to limit screen time with kids. So we now have paper packets and we're engaging kids in a lot of group work. Like they take notes on certain activities that we're doing, but a lot of our activities, like we have our kids working in groups. So that's how we run our skill-based health program. It's a lot of interactive like activities.
Hmm.
And in the state of Wisconsin, like you have to consider the state you're in, what you're required to teach.
Right.
Like we have to teach shaken baby. We have to introduce first aid CPR. We actually certify kids in our building, which is a great skill for them to have. So,
Wonderful.
and I think I don't know if I answered that fully, but
Oh,
like
no, you did.
that's
You did.
okay. But that's
Hmm.
the way to get started is to figure out who your students are and get
Yeah.
familiar with skill-based health and yeah, and
Wonderful.
yeah.
If somebody wanted to contact you, how can they do that?
Oh, that's a good question. I guess they could look me up online, because I am the Wisconsin Health and PE president, so the would-be president. They could get a hold of me that way, or they could email me. I know I could provide my school work email if they wanted to meet via Zoom, and I could talk them through like skill-based health and kind of show them our scope and sequence and our
Hmm.
curriculum. So that would be one way to get a hold of me is online. There's, I think I'm online through Shape America too. So
Okay.
another way to contact me as well.
Very good. And I will make sure that we have some contact information for you in today's description for sure.
Sure. Yep, absolutely. And I used to have a Twitter account, but I canceled it.
Okay. I'm I understand. There's so much
So,
going on.
yes.
And before we end for today, is there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners, Sandy?
I would like to share with all our health educators is to continue to do a great job and teaching is very hard.
Mhm.
And I know that most teachers that I work with are reflective, so continue to be reflective practitioners. And as my mentor said to me, my first year of teaching is if you put the kids first in all your decision making, you'll have a great career.
And what a wonderful way to conclude that it is about our students.
Hmm.
And those of you listening in, I usually end with this, but I'll start my conclusion here of thank you for doing what you're doing because the kids need us.
They need us.
They do.
Hmm.
So thank you, Sandy, for being here today. I truly appreciate your time and I really appreciate everything you've done for our profession. Thank you.
You're welcome. And thank you for having me.
Oh, it is a pleasure. And for our listeners, thanks for listening in. Please continue to listen to the School Health Educators podcast, give us a thumbs up, go to the School Health Educators website, check it out. And like I said a moment ago, thanks for doing what you're doing. Please continue doing that and stay true to you. Thanks, folks.
Goodbye, and thank you for having me, Lori. I really thought this went really well, and I'm excited to continue to share my passion with everyone that's teaching health and PE and just keep doing a great job out there, everybody.